Hey there. So in the last video, I spoke to you about how a personal trainer could use a custom workflow to build different online processes. We've spoken about processes like client onboarding, scheduling sessions, sending workout plans, tracking client progress, billing and invoicing, follow-up and communications. And we've looked at how all of these could use different apps such as Google Calendar, Trello, Google Sheets, Stripe, and Gmail to get data from different locations from all these different apps, but at the same time combine it all into one integrated app. And for this, we're going to be using make.com to show you how you can get data from these different sources and then doing whatever you need to do with this data. So here I am in make.com, and for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be using slightly different tools compared to these, which I find to be much easier to work with when it comes to using make.com. So the first, instead of using Google Sheets, we're going to be using an Airtable. And for those that have never used Airtable, I find this to be like Google Sheets on steroids, because it allows you to run automations, it allows you to set up webhooks much easier than Google Sheets, and the results are much more predictable. As a tool, it's much more reliable, in my opinion, than Google Sheets. So that is the reason why I'm using this tool for this video. So in this test database that I have, I'm going to create a new table called Personal Trainer Clients, and I'm going to hit Save. And what I want to do for this is I'm going to have the name of the client, which let's call this the full name. And for simplicity's sake, I'm going to have goal of the client. So the goal would be lose 10 kilograms, put on muscle, and so on and so forth. We're going to have a status. I'm just going to delete the assignee. And for status, we have, let's say, onboarded. We have plan sent, and we have call scheduled. So I'm just going to run you through a few potential automations that you could create. So I'm going to go to forms here. I'm going to choose new form. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my personal trainer clients. And I'm going to say, okay, this is a new personal trainer client. I'm going to hit create a form, and I'm going to publish this form. So what I'm able to do is anyone on the web that has this link is then able to fill in this form. So if I go to incognito and put in that link, I'm able, as a new client, to get onboarded. So I'm able to enter my full name, my goal, and my status, which, going back to Airtable, is not something that I want to have. So let's go back to Airtable. Let's hit edit. And I don't want to show this in the form. So just gonna hit the three dots and remove from there. Publish. So creating a form is as easy as that. Hit share, anyone on the web, copy link. If I go back and paste that in, now I just have full name and goal. Obviously you can add as many fields as you want here to make it make sense for your own personal use case. So let's say that the name is John Smith and the goal is to lose 10 kilograms. Hit submit, and John has submitted his form. So now if I go back to Airtable and go back to my database, these were the records that are automatically created in a new table, and I have a new record inserted, which is John Smith the goal is to lose 10 kilograms. Now I can have a few things happen. What I could do is, for example, as soon as a record enters this view, so as soon as a client fills in this form, he would get an email saying, thanks for filling in this form, we are now working on your program. What you could also do is have a button here. So let's call this client confirmed, which is a button of the same name as the field that opens a URL, and we'll get to that in a second. So as soon as a new record enters here, what we want to do is manually have a look at it. So you don't want to send a program to anyone that fills in this form, because maybe that link might get shared. What you want to do is have a look at the entries that people have inserted and then decide what you want to do. So let's say that form is filled, and then you could either, so you're going to check to either see if client actually is a client, right? If the person that filled in this is actually a client. So that could be one check that you make. Another check could be to see if you need more information. So maybe the client said, okay, I want to lose 10 kilograms, but this is not really a goal that you could work with. It might be 10 kilos within 2 months or 3 months or 10 months. That makes a big difference. So you don't want to immediately create a workout plan for this client. You want to review it, and then you want to decide whether you want to proceed with this, ask for more information, or just outright delete this record. So this is why I have added this button here, because this requires manual intervention. But what we want to do is that once you hit this client confirm button, you will be able to send an email to this client and tell them, we got your form submission, and now we'll start working on your program. And maybe what you also want to do is change the status to onboarded. So as I'm describing this, I'm going to insert an email field here, because we want to have the client's email to be able to send them an email. And I'm also going to update the form here. So if I add email, and I'm going to put that here. I'm going to publish this, and let's test this out. So name could be Jason, born, jb@gmail.com. I want to get fit. Hit submit. And if I go back to my Airtable now, view data, I would have this entry right here. I say, okay, this is a good data entry. I have received the payment from this client, and I can now say that the client is confirmed, which means that I want to build a quick plan for the client and then update the status to onboarded, for example. So we're going to insert a new column here and say this is client plan. It will be a long text. And when I hit client confirmed, I want make.com, which we'll get to in a second, to create a plan based on this goal, and then change the status to, actually let's make it, change the status to plan sent, because maybe this onboarded is when you change it to, I don't know, I guess within this new workflow, this doesn't make so much sense. So let's remove onboarded. And let's say that by default, we want to have an option called form filled. So when a new record is added, here it means that the client has filled the form. So it's form filled. And then we change this to plan sent after this client confirmed button is pressed. So what we want to do is go to make.com, which is right here, and we're going to start building some stuff. So we're going to have a custom webhook, which is the thing that will be listening when this button is pressed. So when someone presses this button, we want to send information about the full name of the client, the email of the client, and the goal of the client, because this is where the logic, the plan will be created. And to do that, I'm going to edit this field, and I'm going to paste in my webhook URL from make.com. And then I'm going to pass on some data. So I'm going to pass on the full name, which is equal, which is equal to my full name column. I'm going to pass the email, which is equal to the email. And I'm going to pass the goal, which is equal to the goal column. And if this is something you're not understanding, I have a video on how to actually use buttons within Airtable to send information to make.com. So give that a look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bit more information to this Jason Bourne entry. So I want to get fit for a wedding I have in 5 months' time. This is the wedding of my best friend. I think I need to lose 10 kilograms and put on some muscle. What do you suggest? So that's there. As you can see, this is now included here. And what I want to do is, first of all, ensure that this is working correctly. So while I'll unlink that and hit run, and I press client confirmed, this will send the data to make.com, which is the full name, the email, and the code. Now I want to use ChatGPT. So chat, OpenAI, create a completion to build a quick program for this goal. So I'm going to use that model. I'm going to put in, let's put 0, so that uses the maximum amount of tokens. And we're going to create a quick, easy prompt. So let's say that the system prompt is, you are a personal trainer that builds programs for clients. The user message is, I have this client called full name that wants to accomplish this goal. Create a short outline bulleted format program to help him do this. Only return the program, nothing else. Get straight to the point. And I'm doing this so ChatGPT doesn't include additional tags that I don't need in my in the result. So once that happens, I want to do 2 further things. I want to update the record in Airtable. So I want this to have the client plan listed here. And in addition, I want the status to change to plan sent. So I'm going to go to my test base. I'm going to choose the table, which is personal trainer clients. And I'm going to update based on the record ID, which is the full name that is passed from here, from the webhook. I'm going to set the goal, or rather, the client plan is the result from ChatGPT, and the status is going to be plan sent. And thinking about it, I think this makes more sense. So I want to send the email with the result or with the plan to the client, and then I want to update the Airtable. So let's say that for simplicity's sake, the email of the client is that one right there, right? So this is a test email that I have, and I'm just going to swap this out to the email that the client would have passed. So this means that I will be able to send the client an email directly with their plan. So here I'm going to say, hey, full name. So hey, Jason Bourne, this is your plan. I'm going to attach the result from ChatGPT. Speak soon, Kevin. What I also want to do, as you can see, full name is Jason Bourne. So in the next iteration of this, I want to just send, hey, Jason, because it doesn't sound very personal if I say, hey, full name, rather than, hey, first name. So I'm going to save this, hit run once, go back to our table, and let's give this a run. So I'm going to hit client confirmed. So that will open up that window, which will start the automation. And this got the name of the person, the email, and the goal. And here we've run into an issue. So let's have a look. The result from ChatGPT is this program. So it created this program based on the goal, which was losing weight for a wedding in 5 months' time. But here we have an issue. So here it's saying Airtable not found. So, oops, let's have a look. What is wrong with that? So this is test base, personal trainer clients. This is saying 404 not found. Let's see. The record ID. Oh yeah, of course. So here we need to add the record ID, not the full name. And to find that, we also need to pass this on in our message. So we need to add a new record ID here, which is a formula. And to make it easier, we're just going to list this here. And this is how Airtable communicates with other software and internally with itself. So each new record I add has its own ID. So going back to this, I'm also going to send the record ID here. So and rec ID equals to record ID. Hit save. And here I'm going to unlink this, run this once, so I can have the variables that I'll be able to add in make.com. And now I got the record ID here. So now, instead of putting the first name here or full name here, I'm going to add the record ID, which for some reason is not updating. So this would be called 1, or rather 6, because this is the module number right here. And we know that this is called REC ID, which is case sensitive. So here I'm going to just pass this 6 dot, there's a space that I didn't want. So 6 dot record ID. And like that, we'll just be able to update the plan and the status for that specific record ID. So hit save, hit run once again, go back to our table, hit client confirmed, and let's see what happens now. We should also now get a second email along with the updated record. So as you can see, for JSON Born, we now have the client plan, which is right here. We have the status as plan sent, so this is okay on this end. And if I go to my email, refresh that, I now have 2 emails. The one where the scenario failed, which was 3 minutes ago. So let me just delete this message. And now this is the one right now. So it's saying, hey, JSON Born, this is your plan. Month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. As you can see, it took into consideration that it's a 5-month plan and created the cardio and the diet. Cardio and diet. So obviously you would need to go into the prompt and make it make more sense. But this is just something that you can do very, very quickly. If you were to update just to not say, hey, JSON Born, but say, hey, JSON, all you would need to do is go here, and instead of having hey full name, we want to send only the first word before the space. So what you would do is have a split command. And as you can see, the split takes the initial string, which is in our case full name, and then semicolon and whatever you want to split by. So here I want to split by a space. And what I also want to do is, after I have this split, because this will create like element 1 and element 2. So to create element 1, which is JSON, element 2, which is born. I want to get that first element. So I'm going to put another function and say get all of this, but only item 1. So this will give me, hey, JSON. And if I were to run this again, let's say the email, the full name is JSON Born, or let's change it so you can see that. So Joe Smith, and the result is sample program here. And hit OK. That will send the email. Refresh that and say, hey, Joe. So as you can see, this removed the first, or rather the last name, and just sent the first name. This is your plan. Obviously, we said sample program here. Speak soon, Kevin. So that is working correctly. Now, going back to this one right here. So in this first part, we've looked at client onboarding, right? What you can then do is do or have other workflows for other parts of the process. So let's look at the other processes. So we could have a scheduling session. So when someone books a session via a scheduling tool like a Google Calendar, we would send an email to the client and then update Trello or update the status with that information. We could have the same thing happen when they schedule a session, or rather before a scheduled session time. So instead of having a scenario that runs based on this webhook, we could have it run based on a specific time. So if the time, let's say, for example, let's unlink this, let's move this here, and let's say the time now is, let's run this. So the time now is 15th September 2024 at 11:15. And let's say that the client has a meeting with us right now, right? So this is when the client booked a call. With Make, you're able to trigger something at regular intervals, or once, or every day. Or what you could do is run this module or this workflow every day, and you check whether you have appointments happening today. And then, based on that, you're able to send an email to clients reminding them of when their next appointment would be. So if you're interested in this, let me know, and I'll build a workflow and record a video about this. Another thing that you could do is track clients. So you could have another form similar to this one right here, where the client submits their progress. When they enter data, this is all added into the data field here. So you would have additional columns for progress, and you compare the progress compared to the goal. And you say to the client, okay, you're on track or you're not on track. So you're giving continuous feedback. Similar for billing. So you can send clients billing information at specific intervals. And you can also have follow-up communication. So after your call, you can say, this was what we discussed on the call. These were the key takeaways. And then you follow up with the client after X number of days. So these are all ideas that you can create as a fitness trainer for clients. So let me know if you want to see any of these or even other ideas in the comments. In the meantime, I hope you found this video useful. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you want more of this, let me know, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe so I create more videos like this and you don't miss out when I release them. In the meantime, I hope you have a great, awesome day. I'll speak to you soon.